And also another year of your season where you missed 50 games, 60 games with an injury that people didn't
Well, I
even
should have probably
realize.
missed the whole season, really.
You played like 12 games or 18 games.
27. But if I would have did the last surgery we did that first, then I would have missed the whole year.
People don't realize that your Jones fracture surgery was 3 surgeries for 1 injury. Your foot is so fucking different that.
Oh man, they were saying that's a career-threatening injury.
Yeah.
Because of the blood flow that goes to the bone, and it might not all the way. Like, it was a bunch of, you know how that shit is.
That was scary.
And that's another underrated nuance about the Kevin Durant story. The season-ending injuries. I mean, it's happened to him in Golden State and Oklahoma City. But yet, his scoring numbers are going to be up there by the time he retires. So imagine he had those other 2 years worth of stats. Matter of fact, he might have missed 3 seasons. You guys correct me in the comment section if I'm off about that. I believe he missed extra time when he first joined the Brooklyn Nets in order to come back.
All of this shit was scary. Even when the Achilles, and it was like, man, you may get blood clots if you don't control certain.
You were bugging from the
like,
blood
I was
clots.
bugging him all of that because I felt like it was affecting my whole body. Just my Achilles, because it's such a major ligament. You know what I'm saying? So
this guy almost risked his fucking career for the Golden State Warriors because they knew he was leaving. They nailed Kevin Durant on that fucking cross. That's why they gave him a signing trade when he went to Brooklyn, so he can hit that guaranteed supermax. But they nailed that boy right to the cross. I don't know why Kevin Durant put himself in that circumstance, because it was obvious. His Achilles was already fucked up right before they hit that Western Conference Finals.
And that's what goes unnoticed when you talk about professional athletes and how we deal with injuries. You know what I'm saying? And what it takes to really come out of that. And you was in it with me every day.
Bro. Went to all 3 surgeries with you, obviously, but the third one, I had back surgery 3 days before.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And you took you was on a flight, not even first class.
No, first
seat
class, bro. This was middle
back.
seat, last row of the plane joint.
And
like this.
You had, what was it? This
I
surgery?
had the microdiscectomy or some shit. Yep. Then I remember you get to the Bay, and you remember the first year in the Bay, you got hurt in DC. We go to get an MRI or an X-ray. They look at it and they say that you're probably out for the year. And
oh my gosh! They
remember what happened?
They told us that I was out for the year, and there's then a 30-45 minute wait period before they called us back. So imagine that 30 to 45 minutes, we were in.
Bro, tears.
Yes.
Because you had just left.
That's the beautiful side about this landscape that we're in right now, where you hear it directly from the players. And to see Kevin Durant bounce back from both of those surgeries, especially the way he performed in Brooklyn, just having his toe in the line, he could have led that team to the finals and perhaps won the championship. It goes to show you how good of a player he is. Much respect to KD.
From Oklahoma City to the Bay, you were bumping, and if you got hurt and they kept playing and winning, like, there was so much stress on you, there was so much bullshit that, like, what, you're out for the year?
Yeah, it was just, and it was devastating. It was totally devastating to the point where it's just flat out tears as soon as they said that, because it's just like, come on, it can't play out this way.
No.
But then when we got the call, yeah, let's tell you how bad DC traffic is. We still in the car 45 minutes later on the way to the hotel, and they called us and told us that there's a 6-week injury, 4 or 6 week injury, and just a bone bruise, and I was so relieved, and we almost celebrated. And I remember that next morning, Zaza because Zaza the one that fell into my leg, he was so distraught. Like, I felt so bad for him. It's like 6 or 7 in the morning, he knocked on my door now. And he's just so apologizing so much. I felt so bad, but he didn't realize that, like, yo, you didn't get that news we got.
No, he's straight up.
And then get the other news we got. So I was excited at that time. So I was like, Zab, man, it's all good.
We're good.
I'll
see you
back.
in the playoffs.
I see you. Hold it down for me. And that eased his mind too. And I love Zaza. That's one of my favorite teammates ever. And I love that he came and did that. But that just shows the emotional roller coaster this league and being an NBA player and all that stuff matters, bro. And not just me. People around me feel that too.
Oh my God. So your Achilles, right? Let's just paint a picture for 1 second. You guys have won 2 championships in a row. You know, you're playing the Toronto Raptors. You're missing the first few games. There's a lot of buzz of whether you're going to come back. And you call me. I'm in New York. It's right before game 5. And you said to me, yo, get Mary Beth. We need the massage therapist to meet me in Toronto. I said, why, what's up? You're like, I'm going to play. And, bro, it was like more heroic than I think people even realize, to be fair. And I fly to Toronto, and no one knew you were playing, so I ended up being the only person there. It was like bad weather, and I come into town, and we're having that, like, I felt like Don King and Mike Tyson. I remember I was talking to you. I was like, bro, this about to be that motherfucking moment. You taking this series back. This is it. Then you was like, come on the team bus with me, bro. I'm like, hell yeah. I wore sweats because I was like, I got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
So I wore Warrior sweats. I got on the bus. I remember Dre.
Now, right here, I think Kleiman's putting a little sauce on it because Kevin Durant was at the end of his contract, about to be an unrestricted free agent. And it was clearly obvious there was something wrong with his Achilles. And for the Golden State Warriors, they were pressuring him to return. And it was almost looking like that was going to be the first time the NBA audience was going to see a franchise pretty much nail a player to the cross to try to win a championship. Kevin Durant is lucky his career didn't end that night.
Dap me up. And this was a bucket list moment for me. And then the fucking arena buzzing, Drake there. And what happened after that was honestly like a movie, a fucking movie. We're in the back with 4 doctors, Bob, the team's not even back, and no one can talk. And it's obvious you tore your Achilles. Do you remember that moment still like it was yesterday? Do you block that shit out?
No, I remember it. It's a huge moment in my life, man. It's a life-changing moment. As I was walking back, I knew.
Man, most people thought his career was done. It was obvious something was already wrong with him. To throw him out there was crazy. I know Rich Kleiman told him, fuck the Warriors. We already leaving. Forget it. But the pressure was really on. And we seen in real time how aggressive the Warriors really are. Remember, this past trade deadline, they hit up the LA Lakers to test the temperature on what they could do to get LeBron on their team. So the Warriors do have an understanding that them getting to the NBA Finals is not really guaranteed. As we've seen, it took years later in order for them to return to their exact final spot.
For a fact that it was done, because when I was walking, it wasn't. I didn't feel like I had a normal foot. Like it felt like my foot was hanging, but I was just walking on my heel, and I couldn't feel anything else but my heel. So I'm like, this is no way I can even walk straight or try to walk straight right now. So I know it's just not like no strain or nothing. And I felt and I heard a pop. It's 20,000 people in there. It's the finals, and I heard a pop. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And my whole basketball career just flashed before my eyes. Everything.
Yep, because he was warned. KD was warned. Why would his whole basketball career flash before his eyes? Because he was already fucking warned that if he makes that move and play in that game in Toronto, that could be the end of his career.
Everything I did, everything that I thought about, all my favorite moments, all my bad moments, it flashed. And that's why if you watch, I'm just sitting there gazing into the crowd before somebody came over to help me up, because I'm just like, this shit is over with. Like, I truly don't know what I'm about to be. And that's a nerve-wracking feeling when you don't know who you are.
That was
Facts. And that's why I said Rich Kleiman putting extra sauce on it. The fact that KD's going out there to sacrifice himself when literally after these finals, he will be an unrestricted free agent. So he could have had possibly a career-ending injury followed by having no guaranteed contract behind it. So just in that one night, Kevin Durant could have went from being a basketball player to now having to search for a new identity because his NBA life is basically over.
scary shit.
You know what I'm saying? And as I was walking back, you know, I seen everybody, and Kyle Lowry was trying to settle the crowd down. I seen Drake over there upset. I love that dude so much, bro. Like you knew and he knew. And
Everybody knew KD. Come on, everybody knew. Him tearing his Achilles right there didn't shock anybody. We already knew what it was. That's why the Warriors gave you that signing trade when you decided to go to Brooklyn in free agency. They didn't have to do that, but they did it as a gesture to signal to other potential free agents that we're not going to do KD like that. But that shit looked bad on that franchise, that they were willing to do that, knowing that KD was going to bounce from that franchise regardless.
because I tell him everything. And I seen how mad he was about it. And then as I went back to the locker room, they give you this test where I guess they squeeze on your calf to see if your foot will move. And my foot would move, and that's when every doctor knows that. And I remember the doctor did that, and he was just looking around and just didn't say nothing.
No one wanted to say shit.
He just couldn't say nothing. And I was just like, fuck, this is it. And
See, a regular Achilles tear is bad, but the fact that everyone knew that if he hit the court, that shit was going to tear, that's even worse. That is even worse. Once again, KD going down like that was a bad look on the Warriors. Just not even them losing the finals. Just the way they was willing to sacrifice KD shows you how aggressive the Warriors really are when it comes to winning.
that's when I knew. I was like, all right, I probably won't go back to the Bay again. And this whole thing is just, this is the end of this whole thing. Yeah, it was just like, this the end of this whole thing. Like, I had left to come on that road trip, and I didn't even go back to the Bay after that to get my clothes or nothing. Y'all all did that for me. Went straight to New York, got surgery, and was in New York since then. And it was such a defining moment in my career, bro. People don't realize the thoughts that I had as I was going through all of that shit, because it affects your human life at that point. You can't walk, you can't function like a regular human. You gotta learn how to walk again, on top of you trying to learn how to be an athlete again. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, man, it was tough. Just because.
Once again, for him to come back and play on that level that he did, going up against Giannis and just having his toe on the line, man, that's how good and dedicated of a basketball player that he is.
I didn't know what the recovery is like. You just hear about it, you know, and it's different when you go through it. So all I knew was just like, this is the toughest injury ever. It's gonna be hard to come back from. It's a year process. Every day is tedious. That's all I kept hearing. So I'm just, and I knew I can grind out of rehab, but I'm just like, would that even help? You know what I'm saying? I know I get.
Damn, KD's coming to tears just thinking about it. Jesus.
But will I really be the one that I was before? And that was stressing me out, because I couldn't know until I started. And then my mind started to get at ease when I started playing pickup. When I started going against other players that were in the NBA. And I'm like, I could still drive past him. I could still shoot over this guy. There's certain stuff that I was missing out of my game that I had to build back up again. Like my range from deep. Like stopping on a dime, pulling up from deep. Like my fadeaways going right off my leg, pushing off this right leg. I feel like I had to build that stuff up, and it was stressful, but I was like, I still feel solid around the younger players in the league. So that's when I started testing myself out, that's when I got better. And that's when my mind became more at ease, and then I was starting to realize, like, oh, I can do this again. And then it happened over time. Like my first preseason game, I was like, okay. My first 6-7 games in the league, I was playing all right. I was like, all right. Then my first playoff series, this is the highest intensity of basketball, playing against the Milwaukee Bucks, a champion. I'm like, all right, this is the highest level of ball, and I can play 48 minutes straight. All right, I'm back. That's when I finally realized, like, all right, I'm all right.
When you think about that series, KD playing all those minutes, had they gotten past the Bucks, man, his energy level, I don't know if they could have lasted in the finals, but they probably would have won it against CP3 with him just having those meltdowns in crucial moments. But KD was burnt out. I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did in that series against Milwaukee with Kyrie out and James Harden having that hamstring issue. But it shows you the level of talent and dedication he really has coming off that surgery and just performing like that. A lot of guys would not have come back, or it would have taken them 2 or 3 seasons to get back playing like that.
I think it's crazy that two of the most defining moments in your career, and your career is not nearly done, and you've accomplished so much, is this Achilles injuries on the biggest stage ever.
Yeah.
And having one of the most epic, iconic games in New York City that came up a quarter of an inch short, right? And I'm not one of them people that's like, man, the media don't treat you right. Like, I get it. We get the asterisks. We get it all.
Yeah.
We get it all. But what I'm talking about is that, like,
A lot of that asterisk, once again, it comes from a lot of media members understanding that KD had blocked LeBron James from perhaps getting his 6 rings. The legacies of KD, Curry, and LeBron are all interlinked. Stephen Curry allowing KD to come to the Golden State Warriors and helping him get over on LeBron. LeBron himself beating KD to get his first NBA championship, and on his pursuit to get multiple rings to perhaps catch up to Jordan and be on that GOAT conversation after the 2016 finals. KD had made that decision to join Golden State. And at the same time, on Kevin Durant's end, Stephen Curry being a bigger star than him while he was at Golden State, and just him never receiving the love and adoration that Curry did, and also the respect of getting those 2 rings, followed by the 2022 championship by Curry, has added even more pressure on KD to prove himself, even though he's a 2-time NBA champion as well as a 2-time MVP. So once again, all their stories are intertwined. You really can't explain one of their legacies without the other.